We're going to start your tour on the outside of the trailer, and we'll start at the front storage compartment. See here, there's lots of storage space. It's also home to your crank for your stabilization jacks and the crank for your electric ton jack. Continue around the front, and the first thing that we'll come to is your propane system. This here comes with two 30-pound bottles connected to a crossover regulator. What a crossover regulator does is right now the handle's pointing to this tank, so it'll draw from here first, but once the pressure drops below a certain amount here, it'll automatically come over here and start selecting propane from this tank, whether you switch this or not. One thing to note, that I see a lot of people will put this in the middle and think that means it's off, and that isn't true. So don't think that means it's turned off. You also have your storage compartment for your battery up here with the the leads for the battery. We come down here and we'll see we have your breakaway switch for the trailer braking system. If your tow vehicle ever becomes disengaged from the trailer, it will pull this pin, engaging the trailer brakes. Conversely, if you ever notice that your brakes or your trailer is towing funny and maybe the brakes are locking up and you don't know why, sometimes this pin can be part way out and not all the way back in, so it doesn't disengage the brakes. Come to the electric tongue jack. Has a nice loading light, button to operate up and down. We also have this rubber stopper. You remove that in an event that you don't have any power and you need to raise or lower your tongue jack. You can use the crank that we had in the front storage compartment there, right in here. So that's good. We have another front loading light, cargo light. And then we have the other side of your front storage, so we have access to both sides. Next we'll come to one of your stabilization jacks. These are not meant to level the trailer, only to stabilize, to keep it from any extra movements. We have one at all four corners of this trailer. Some smaller trailers only have the two at the back. This being larger, it has the four. We'll continue along the outside of your trailer. Come to the next kind of important feature, your outdoor shower. It's pretty neat, especially with kids. Hose them off outside. We also have your city water connection, so if you're connecting to the campground water hose, basically, this is where you put it. We have the 30 amp power supply for the park or campground hookup, as well as your tank flush to flush out your blackwater tank. And lastly, in this section, I know this packed full of lots of stuff, you have your hot water tank. Two most important things to note here: drain cap, and the pressure relief valve. So right now that's in the open position, so it will be relieving pressure. Closed and no relief of pressure. Before you remove this plug, especially if it's filled with water, air, or anything, always make sure you open the relief valve and let the pressure off. Otherwise, this thing will shoot off like a bullet. Okay, come down to the output for your blackwater tank. Right here, we have the blackwater valve handle right here. Continue along. We have the main input for the cable and satellite to the trailer at the back here. And we have the output for your gray water, your second gray water tank right here, as well as the valve handle. continue along, you'll see that there is a ladder for access to the roof, as well as it does come pre-equipped. You can see that black thing there. That's a housing for a rear camera. Pretty handy, especially if you tow bikes or anything like that. That way you can keep an eye on them and always know that they're still there. We have a port at the back for propane, so a little barbecue, anything like that. You can plug into this quick connect right here. Now we come to your outdoor kitchen. Pretty nice little setup. We have sink, stovetop, and a nice fridge. Who doesn't like that? You even have some lighting, mood lighting, not mood lighting. We have your barbecue. We have another quick connect here. You'll locate it right there. Important to note too with all these quick connect propane connections is there's actually a shut off at each one as well. So you want to make sure it's in the open position now and not the closed position like it is here. So if that's open, connect this end here and then the other end here. And once you've done that, come up here, turn it to the light position, then you can light the burners. And that is your outdoor kitchen. So you know what, we have your awning here. We have awning speakers at the head of each awning. Also to note here is that there is a fridge vent here, that it's under your awnings, so you might be tempted to lean stuff here. It's important that you don't, as airflow is needed for proper operation of your refrigerator. Here we have the input port for your fresh water tank. This is where you can put your clean water that you can use if you're not going to be at a campground. And underneath your awning we also have an output for cable, as well as a mount for a TV and a JFCI protected plug. I know, pretty neat. Let's head inside and see what kind of features we have. First thing, we'll note that you have fire extinguisher. We have your carbon monoxide propane detector. There's a button right here you can press so that you know that it's functioning properly. It's a good idea to test it every once in a while. I usually say every 6 months, daylight savings time. You can check your smoke detector at the same time. Pretty easy to remember that way. So next we have kind of the you have your indicator panel. So your battery, fresh water, black water, gray water, 1 and 2, so 2 gray water tanks. We have your water pump switch and your gas and electric hot water heater switches. As well as below we have controls for your awning, for your slide, for the main lights of the trailer, and for your LED awning lights. One important feature to note, as this unit has a gas fireplace but only a 30 amp power hookup or power supply, you cannot have your water heater on electric and the fireplace on at the same time. So you have to choose. If you're trying to run your hot water tank on electric and it doesn't work, there's a good chance that you have it switched to fireplace, or vice versa. If you're running your hot water tank off gas and you still don't have power for your fireplace, then there's a good chance you just need to switch it to the fireplace position. Alright, we'll start in the bedroom and work our way to the back. So first things first, as soon as we come in here, you'll notice there's a switch up above the window. have the kind of now standard blinds. Same with the windows. Down here, although a little dark, let's put another light on. See a little better. There is a charging center, has a 12-volt plug-in as well as two USB plug-ins, and then you have regular plug beside the bed here as well. Before we move on, I want to make note on this side of the bedroom we have the emergency exit. In order to use the emergency exit, you push down on this black tab, push the red handle over, push the handle all the way out, pull on this tab to remove the screen, and then you may escape to safety. Let's hope you never have to use it. Continuing to the rest of the trailer now. Notice we have your stereo system here, as well as your TV. One important thing to note about the TV and stereo system is the buttons on the back. Right now, this one light here is set up for antenna. And then if you press the button again, it shows a light over there for cable. So if you're not getting good picture and you've got it either antenna and cable, come here and try pressing this button first just to make sure. Back to the stereo, however, you'll note you have HDMI, USB, auxiliary, and Bluetooth connectivity, as well as you have a 2-zone speaker system. Zone 1 is inside the trailer, and Zone 2 plays on the speakers on the awning. You can also play DVDs as well. Next we'll come to the smoke detector. There's a button here, as we discussed with the carbon monoxide and propane detector. It's important that you press this button and just test to make sure it's functioning every 6 months or so. Around daylight savings times, usually the easiest to remember. You'll have to press and hold for a few seconds. And here you'll see, I'm not going to take it all the way out, but we have the fill hose for your water pump. It's behind here. To gain full access, there's 2 Red Robertson screws you can remove, and then you'll see the valve to switch it from winterizing to grabbing from the fresh water tank. Sliding on over at the floor here, next door to the power center. See here, it's got standard breakers like you'd see in most houses nowadays, but it's also got a full set of fuses, kind of like you'd see in your car. So again, any power issues, if you're comfortable, here's a place to look. Next, we come to the range and oven. Fold back the glass before you light the range, obviously, or you will shatter your glass. So to operate this, the top burners turn to the light position, noted by the little flame, and then once that's there, turn the sparker. Same thing for the oven. All 3 top burners operate the same way. The oven operates the exact same way, except when this is in the light position, you also have to press and hold that down while you turn the sparker, and that will light your lighter, or your oven, sorry. Your lighter will light itself. Go to your fridge next. You have a power button, a mode button, and the mode button will switch between gas, electric, or automatic. Pretty standard. You also have your air conditioner. I just want to make sure you notice that there's all these ports all out throughout the trailer, and these are for your AC. However, when you're running the air conditioner, which you do from the thermostat, I'll show you that in a minute, if these baffles are open, you won't get any AC really going through those ports. It'll all come out here. So if you're cooking and you want the cool air here, this is good. If you want it spread throughout the trailer, close that up, and then you're good to go. Your thermostat. It's a capacitive touch button, so you just lightly touch to cycle through. We have your AC, we have your heat, and first we have your fan. Use these two side buttons to cycle up and down. Here we have the access to the back of your hot water tank. 2 Robertson screws, red Robertsons, and that'll give you access to the back where you'll see valves to switch it between the summer and winter modes. Basically, you're just bypassing or not bypassing the hot water tank. Come into the bathroom. Pretty standard stuff. We have your switch. Here's the unit GFCI. If you have some LED plugs that aren't working properly and there's no breakers tripped or fuses blown, there is a chance that it could be the GFCI is tripped and whatever receptacle that isn't working is on the load side of it. So if that's the case, you can just come in and press the reset button, and if everything works, then you're good to go. Pretty standard bathroom. The skylight in the bathtub's nice little feature. And your vent. Here we have your controls for your bedroom slide or bunk slide. And you'll see we have these nice Jayco couches. These are pretty neat. They all move and unfold. You can fold them right out and get a nice big extra sleeping area. Or we can just sleep on the bunks that are supplied. Have a nice ladder that pulls out. As well as this bunk does flip up in case you're wanting to sit here underneath here and you don't want to duck. You can also resituate these so that the back, or the backrest, I guess the armrest becomes a backrest, however you want to look at it. And then that way, if you have the TV here, as this is all set up for TV, you can watch TV. So your kids can watch their stuff, you guys can watch yours on the other TV, everybody's happy. We'll also note before you put the bunk back, or while I put the bunk back down, that there's another emergency exit here. So your kids are safe as long as they know how to use this. They can also get out safely in the case of an emergency. And all you do, flip these little tabs up, one there, then pop the window open. It's pretty easy. Well, that about does it for the tour of the Jayco trailer here. If you have any questions, our staff here would be happy to try to help. Feel free to call in. We'll be happy to hear from you.